If you've ever hiked alone deep in the woods, especially somewhere like the Pacific Northwest, you know there's a kind of silence that doesn't feel peaceful. It feels watched. This is a horror story I've never shared before about an abandoned church in the forest and the night everything changed. You ever go out into the woods alone? I don't mean a walk in the park or some weekend trail run. I mean really out there miles from anyone. No cell signal, just you and the trees. Nothing but your breath, your boots, and the sound of the wind moving through the branches like it's whispering in a language you're not meant to understand. Yeah, that kind of alone. I used to love it. Still do, in a way. There's something almost sacred about it, right? Like the forest is one of the few places left where the world feels real. Where it doesn't matter who you are back home, what job you have, who you're pretending to be. Out there, you're just a creature among other creatures. A heartbeat in the dirt. So when I took a week off last fall, I packed up my gear and headed north. I'd been to a bunch of places before, but this time I picked a trail in a lesser-known national park in Washington. Can't remember the name now, honestly. It's not one of the big ones. Hardly anyone even talks about it. I'd found a few old forum posts about the place, backpacking blogs mostly. People said it was dense, quiet, misty even in the afternoon. Not dangerous, just strangely silent. That kind of review? That's what sold me. I wanted silence. I wanted peace. I got something else. It was the third day, and when I first noticed things were off. Not scary, just off. You know how, when you've been in the woods a few days, you start getting into a rhythm? Wake up with the sun, break camp, hike a few hours, stop for water, hike again, set up before dark. But that day, the trail markers didn't line up with the map I'd downloaded. I had signal back at the trailhead. I know I downloaded the full offline file. I triple-checked, and yet, somewhere between what should have been Trail 14B and a junction near a small river, I came across a path I didn't recognize. No markings, no signs, just this narrow, overgrown cut through the trees, like an old game trail someone had tried to maintain once and then gave up on. Now, I know the rule. You don't take unmarked trails, especially not alone. But something about this one felt, God, this sounds dumb, it felt intentional. Like it wasn't on the map because it wasn't supposed to be. Like it had been left out on purpose, and I followed it. Of course I did. That's how these stories always go, right? It wasn't long, maybe half a mile. Just enough to feel like I'd stepped out of the known world and into something older. The trees were different there. Taller, darker. The kind of dense where sunlight comes in like cigarette smoke, thin and golden and barely touching the ground. And then the trail opened up into a clearing. That's when I saw it. The church just sitting there, like it had been waiting. It was small, maybe 20 feet wide, 30 deep. Wooden, no steeple. The paint had long since peeled away, revealing soft gray planks underneath. The roof sagged in the middle. One window was boarded up, the others were just empty frames with old curtain shreds flapping in the breeze. But it wasn't abandoned, not really. The grass around it was short, trampled, even. The dirt path up to the door was clean, and there was this smell faint, but there. Incense, the kind you find in Catholic churches. Sweet and smoky and old. I stood there for a long time. Just looking. I should have turned around. I should have walked right back the way I came and found the main trail again. But instead I set up camp, just on the edge of the clearing. Maybe 50 feet from the front steps of the church. I told myself it was curiosity, that I'd stay one night and leave in the morning. Maybe snap a few pictures, write a weird story about it later. That's what I do, freelance essays, travel blogs. People love that spooky, lost America stuff. But if I'm being honest, It wasn't about content. It was the silence. It was too quiet, like the woods were holding their breath. That night, I didn't sleep much. The tent felt smaller than usual, my sleeping bag tighter. Every little sound made me flinch. Leaves shifting, branches snapping in the distance, normal stuff. But it didn't feel normal. It felt staged, like someone wanted me to think it was just nature. Sometime after midnight, I heard the door creak. I froze. It wasn't the wind. It was slow, steady, a hinge being moved by a human hand. I didn't unzip the tent. I didn't move. I just lay there, holding my breath, listening. A minute passed. Then two. Then I heard soft footsteps on the grass, not coming closer, just moving around the clearing. Then silence again. When I woke up, the sun was already high. I stepped out of the tent, half expecting to find footprints, or maybe someone standing there waiting. Nothing. The church looked exactly the same, except the front door was open, just a few inches, enough to see the darkness inside. And on the front step, a candle, unlit, but fresh. No wax dripping. No sign it had ever been used. I don't know why that freaked me out more than anything else. But it did. I packed up my stuff in record time, threw everything in my pack, strapped it down, and turned back toward the trail I came in on. Except it wasn't there. The path I'd followed, the narrow one, the strange one, it was gone. Not overgrown, not hidden, just gone. I walked to the edge of the clearing, past the trees, searching for any sign of the trail. Nothing. No broken branches, no scuffed dirt, no markers. Just trees in every direction. And behind me, when I turned around, the church. Still there. Still watching. I don't know how long I stood there, turning in circles, hoping the trail would just appear if I looked hard enough. The sun was getting higher, the light filtering through the canopy in weird, crooked shapes. I kept trying to orient myself north, south, whatever direction I thought I'd come from. But every tree looked the same. The clearing might as well have been surrounded by mirrors. I did what I thought was smart. I marked a tree with my knife and walked in a straight line. 50 paces in, I found another tree, already marked. Same carving, same angle, like I just walked back to where I started, even though I hadn't turned around once. I tried again. This time to the west, or what I thought was west. Same thing. I'd mark a tree, walk straight, and find that exact same tree again. Same bark, same scrape. I even tested it by sticking a little twig in a knot near the base. Walked 10 minutes, twig was still there when I got back. At some point, I stopped pretending I wasn't panicking. I sat down next to my pack, hands shaking, and told myself to breathe. Just breathe. I'd studied survival tips. I knew better than to start running or yelling. Panicking was what got people killed out here. I ate a protein bar, drank some water, and tried to think. Maybe I'd been walking in circles without knowing it. Maybe the terrain was playing tricks on my sense of direction. Maybe. But even then, there's no way I should have kept ending up in the same spot. No animal trails, no other clearings, not even a change in elevation. Just that same circle of trees wrapped around that same damn church. Eventually, I decided to go back inside. I don't even know why. Maybe because I didn't have any better ideas. Maybe I thought there'd be something in there, some clue about where I was. A name, a note, a freaking map. The door creaked louder than it had the night before. Dry wood against rusted hinges. Inside, it was colder. Not just cool, cold. Damp, like a basement that never sees light. The pews were intact. 6 of them. 3 on each side of a narrow aisle, all made of heavy, dark wood. No cushions, just hard benches, worn smooth from use. And they had been used. There was dust, but only around the edges. The seats themselves were clean, not like someone had wiped them down, but like someone had been sitting there recently. And the altar, there wasn't a cross, no Bible, no religious iconography at all, just an empty space with a flat stone slab, stained dark in the center. Could have been wine, could have been something else. Behind it, a single chair, high-backed, ornate, out of place in a building this plain, and above it, a window, circular, stained glass, red and black and gold, but not in any recognizable pattern. No saints, no symbols I'd seen before, just shards of color twisted together into a spiral. Looking at it made my stomach turn. I should have left right then. Instead, I walked closer. There was something carved into the slab. Shallow letters, worn down. I had to tilt my head to make them out. 5 words: inner quiet, leave changed, return. I don't remember breathing after that. Just this slow, rising pressure in my chest, like my ribs were caving in. I backed away. My boots scraped the old wood. I turned to leave, and that's when I heard it. A voice, not loud, not angry, just clear, right behind me. You're not supposed to be here yet. I spun around. No one. Just the chair, the altar, the stained glass spiral, glowing faintly in the gloom. I didn't run. I bolted. Out the front door, across the clearing, into the woods, full sprint, heart hammering in my ears. Didn't matter which direction. I just needed a way. Branches slapped my face. Thorns tore at my legs. My pack got caught on something, and I let it go. Just dropped it right there in the underbrush. And after a minute, or 10, I don't know, I stopped, fell to my knees, gasping, dizzy. The trees around me were wrong again. Same trunks, same clearing. And when I looked over my shoulder, there it was, the church, like it had followed me, like I hadn't moved at all. I didn't sleep that night. Just sat on the ground, staring at the door, waiting for it to open again. It didn't. But the candle was gone. That unlit candle from the morning vanished, and in its place, a book. A small, leather-bound journal. I didn't want to pick it up. God, I didn't. But I did. The first few pages were blank. Then, handwriting. Shaky at first, then steadier. October 9, Day 1. Found the church again. Thought it was a fluke the first time. Now I know it's not. I don't think I'm alone. October 10, tried to leave. Walked west for hours. Ended up back at the clearing. Again, my compass doesn't work. I think the sun's wrong. October 11, heard something last night. Singing. Very soft. A woman's voice. Can't find the source. It stops when I get close. I keep seeing shadows. October 12, they let me inside. That's where the writing ended. I flipped through the rest of the pages. Empty. No name. No sign of who wrote it. No clue where they went. And suddenly I had this awful thought. What if I'd written it? I hadn't, of course. Different handwriting. Different notebook. But the feeling was still there. Like I was reading a memory I hadn't made yet. Like it was a warning meant for me. I don't remember falling asleep, but I must have. When I opened my eyes, the journal was still in my lap. Only, the page was different. Another entry had appeared, in the same handwriting. But I swear to you, swear on my own life, that page had been blank the night before. October 13, they stop pretending I'm not here. That was it.no explanation. No context. Just that. I dropped the book like it was burning my hands. This wasn't some prank. It wasn't a trick of the woods or my brain shorting out from fear. Something else was going on. Something I couldn't explain. I decided, right then, I had to get out. No more waiting. No more hoping for a ranger to find me. Just walk, run, crawl if I had to. I didn't care if I had to follow a river, climb a tree, scream my lungs out. Anything to put distance between me and that church. But when I turned to grab my things, they were gone. My pack, my jacket, even the food wrappers I'd left by the log, gone. Like they'd never been there. And then I noticed the path. A new one. It hadn't been there the day before. I would have seen it. It was clear, like someone had carved it out deliberately. Smooth earth, no underbrush, just trees bowed to either side like an archway. I should have known better. But it was the first direction I hadn't tried. I followed it. I don't know how long I walked. The light in the woods never changed. There was no sunset, no shift in the shadows, just a constant gray fog that seemed to thicken the farther I went. And then, eventually, I heard it again. A woman's voice, soft and distant, like it was being carried on the wind. A lullaby, maybe, or a hymn. No words, just melody. And when I say it was beautiful, I mean paralyzingly beautiful. It made my knees weak. I remember my eyes stinging, tears rising up for no reason I could name. I kept walking. It got louder. Closer. The trees began to thin. And suddenly, I was back. Back in the clearing. Back in front of the church. Only, it had changed. It wasn't broken anymore. The roof had been repaired. The door was new. The windows clean and shining, like someone had just polished them. Candles burned in the windows. Dozens of them. Warm light glowing against the fog. And there were people inside. I could see them. Shadowed figures in the pews. Heads bowed. Completely still. And at the altar, someone was standing there. A woman in a long black robe. Her back to the door. Arms raised like she was mid-sermon. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but her mouth was moving. Her hands gestured slowly. The people in the pews never looked up. I should have turned around. I should have run. But I didn't. I stepped closer, and that's when every single head turned toward me at once. Not fast. Not jerky. Just together. Perfectly in sync. And I swear to you, every face I saw was mine, not similar. Not cousins or doppelgangers. Me. Dozens of me. Some younger. Some older. Some with cuts or bruises. One missing an eye. Another with what looked like burn scars up one side of his face. But all of them were me, staring at me. Silent. I staggered backward, almost fell. The woman at the altar turned around. She wasn't a stranger either. It was my mother. Dead 10 years. Same kind eyes. Same tired smile, but there was something off. Her skin was too smooth, too perfect. Her mouth didn't quite move right. Like a puppet mimicking a memory. She held out her hand, and behind her, the stained glass window flared to life. That same spiral pattern, red and gold and black, spinning without moving, pulling at my vision, like it wanted to drag my thoughts inside it. I turned and ran. I don't even remember getting back into the woods, just that I was on the ground again, sobbing, dirt in my mouth. My palms bleeding from where I'd fallen. I stayed there a long time, too long. And eventually, the fog began to lift. Real sunlight broke through. Birds started chirping again. And in the distance, I heard a voice. A real one this time. A man's voice, calling out, "Hey." I forced myself to my feet, and there he was. A ranger. Actual uniform. Actual person. Holding a radio and looking at me like I was half dead. Which, maybe I was. I don't remember what I said to him. Just that I started crying again. He gave me water, sat me down, and asked what happened. I told him I got lost. Didn't mention the church. Didn't mention the voices. The copies of me. My mother. I don't think I could have. Even if I wanted to. He said they'd been looking for me for 2 days. But that can't be right. I was only out there one night. 2, At most, he showed me the flyer they'd posted. There was a photo on it, but not when I recognized it was me, but older, hair longer, beard patchier, skin thinner. Like someone had aged me a decade. I told him it wasn't right, that I didn't look like that. He just stared at me and said, "It's from your ID, your license." But when I got home, the photo on my license hadn't changed. Still me. Still now. I haven't been back to the woods since. But sometimes, at night, I dream of the church. Sometimes it's still broken. Sometimes it's full of light. And sometimes I wake up with a new page in that journal. It's been almost a year. That's the part that gets me. A whole year. And I still can't explain what happened out there. I've tried. I've written it down. I've even tried telling a few people, friends, old hiking buddies. Most of them smiled, nodded, told me I must have been hallucinating or dehydrated or just freaked out from being lost. And I wish I could believe that. I really do. But things have been different since I came back. The days feel shorter. Not just subjectively, actually shorter. I've woken up before sunrise, looked at the clock, and it's already noon. I've missed entire afternoons without realizing it. And it's not just time. Mirrors mess with me now. Not every time, but sometimes. I catch myself moving a second too late, or smiling when I'm not. I'll blink, and the reflection will still be staring. There's something else, too. Something I haven't told anyone. I see her sometimes. My mother. She's always far off. Just barely in view. On street corners. At the end of grocery store aisles. Once, standing across the street from my apartment, wearing the same black robe from the church. She never gets closer. She just watches. The first time it happened, I ran outside. But by the time I got to the spot, she was gone. I don't go to that window anymore. And then there's the journal. Yeah, I still have it. I tried burning it. Didn't catch. So I buried it. Dug a hole behind my building, covered it in dirt, even poured bleach on it for good measure. But it came back. Next morning, it was in my apartment again. Same spot on the desk. Open to a new page. March 2 ND. He still doesn't understand that we're not following him, that he's following us. I stopped reading after that, but I can't throw it out. I've tried. I know what you're probably thinking, that I've gone off the deep end, and maybe you're right. Maybe all of this is just some slow motion breakdown. Grief, trauma, guilt. I've run through every psychological theory I can find. But here's the thing. That church wasn't supposed to be there. I've checked every map I could get my hands on. Talked to rangers. Looked at satellite images. There's no record of any structure like that anywhere in that park. Not historically. Not recently. Nothing. And yet, I found it. I saw it. I went inside. I watched versions of myself fill the pews. I watched something wearing my mother's face reach out and offer me something I'm glad I didn't take. I used to wonder what would have happened if I had stepped inside. Now I'm starting to think maybe I did. Maybe I never really made it out. Maybe that ranger didn't find me. I found him. Or something made me think I did. You ever hear that old theory about how if you die in a dream, your mind creates a version of reality where you didn't? That's what this feels like. Like I'm living inside the version where I got out, but the real me is still in the forest, still in that church, sitting in one of those pews, waiting for someone else to show up. Maybe that's why I'm telling you this, not for sympathy, not even for understanding. I just want you to be careful. If you ever find yourself in that part of the country, in the Pacific Northwest, deep in the national parks, where the trails get thin and the trees feel like they're listening, and you stumble across a clearing with an old church in the middle of it, don't go inside. Don't even get close. Walk away, because the moment you see it, it sees you too, and it remembers. So, What do you think really happened at the forest church? Was it something supernatural, or something my mind invented to protect me from the truth? Let me know what you believe in the comments. And if you enjoy creepy, first-person horror stories like this one, hit like and subscribe. There's more coming.